Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of SAFT Apologetics. We have our core team here. I'm going to be your host. My name is Stephen John, and I'm the creative director at SAFT Apologetics. So today, you might wonder why we have our team together, and we're going to be talking about what's transpired recently, and that's the Areopagus conference, and what we're going to plan to do in the future as well. And we have a lot of things rolling. So. Let's jump right into it. How are you guys doing? Let's just before we start off with the topics, we'll just break the ice. And yeah, how are you guys doing?
Well, I'm very excited to have this. I think the last time we had the team members on was in August, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite a while back. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
was. It
this
was.
time it's special to get the core team on the call, and also the fact is that the last time we guys all came together, we hinted at it. We said that we have something amazing in store. We are working on it. That was in
Yeah,
August. So this time we're all back here to talk about how amazingly it went. So I'm just super
yeah,
excited to be here.
yeah,
yeah, and it's
yeah.
good. Like last time, I remember, like all of us were from when we were in the same country but different states, and today we are at different countries as well. So yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just amazing. All right. So that was good. So let's jump into it. So as Jacob had mentioned, the conference was something that was hinted at, and now it's all transpired. And so in that topic, so how did this idea even come up, right? So what's happened is now the Areopagus conference is now the conference wing of SAFT. So how did that idea even spawn in our minds? Uh,
Yeah, before I proceed, I must say nice specs, Steven. They look cool on you.
yeah, context behind that, guys, is I used to have specs before. I just got LASIK on my eyes and just got them removed. So yeah, it looks weird to people who know me. They think I look like a frog because my eyes are really big. So it's still taking time for me to get used to it as well. So right,
Right.
yeah,
So I remember thinking about looking at what we had with the ministry and how we had podcast, and this thought came to my mind. Well, we have all these connections with these various ministries, and we are a ministry focusing towards Indian audience. So why don't we try and do something large scale? Why don't we take that step forward? And so initially we were like thinking of something like YouTube live stream of that sort. So we thought, okay, there
right,
is Zoom. We can do Zoom streaming on the YouTube. And since I think by August, I think Piyush, we had around close to 18 guests already on SAFT
Yeah,
podcast, and
yeah,
that included big names like Dr. William Lane Craig and Frank Turek. So we were like, yeah,
yeah,
we have figured out some of the logistics about recording people, so we can just shift that, and instead of it being recorded on Zoom, it will be a live stream. So there's not much logistics to
yeah,
work around with. So that's how this idea came out. Why don't we try something on a bigger scale, something like a
right,
conference? And then it just,
yeah.
the Lord just took it apart and
Exactly.
then built it up together.
Yeah.
So it was a
And mind you, behind before any of this happened within India, something at this large scale as what we had done had never been done before.
yeah.
No one had really attempted doing this, bringing in world-class apologists and really shining a light into apologetics in general. So yeah, this was a huge step for
yeah.
all of us.
Not only that, to add with that, we even had some amazing worship leaders as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
So this combination, I think it was the first time in India.
yeah,
We didn't know,
Yeah.
we didn't think about it when we were planning on it. Like we also wanted to not focus on how big it was and get caught up with maybe the pride aspect of it. We just kept it
right.
to the side and we said, hey, let's this is exciting, let's do it. But later when the promotion started going out, Indian apologists themselves came out and said, oh, this is unheard of, this is never done before.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, well, that was nice. So, with that, so how did we really get started with the Areopagus project? So, as we know, the Areopagus project in general is the conference wing of SAFT, and then that led to the conference Areopagus 2021. So, how did the birth, or how did we come up with the different steps, or what are the different steps that led to, Areopagus 2021 being a success? So, what were the different things that we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like most of us we remember, like the three of us, we had numerous meetings, especially in the first week of Jan, second week of Jan, planning, deciding different things, and then yeah. So Jacob, you were saying?
Yeah, what I was saying was that Piyush recalls this when I suggested this live stream conference platform. Piyush asked, "Hey, why can't we do this regularly? I mean, we can do this on a yearly basis." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we just have to do this once a year, so the workload
Yeah.
is not like putting out a podcast every 2 weeks." And so Piyush actually put out the idea of doing it regularly. And then I asked Piyush, "Hey, we have the podcast wing. Why don't we try and if you're doing this regularly, then it should have its own identity, it should have its own distinctness that will enable us, and as we grow, also to uh, expand it further." So then Piyush was like,
Right.
"Yeah, let's do it on a proper basis." And then we started brainstorming the name and how do we bring it about, and that's how we ended up with the name, the Areopagus project. And
Yeah, what was the first name before Areopagus? I barely remember it now. Like,
the first name that came to mind, and that was the only other suggestion that we had. The first name that came to my mind was Benign Sophia. Do you guys remember that?
ah,
Yeah.
yes, benign. Imagine that was the name. Yeah, the Benign Sophia project. Oh my gosh.
And then each step towards the conference has its own story, and if you sit down to
Ah,
tell
Yeah.
you
yeah.
about it, it's gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah, the whole thing behind the live stream itself. So I handle all of the logistics and all of that stuff. So when it came to Zoom lives, the Zoom thing, and then hosting it on a live stream, it just didn't feel conferencey enough. So, but then God just led us through. So we'll be getting into that. And also another thing, you might notice that Jacob and I will be calling Ankit Piyush a lot. So that's his nickname, just letting you know in case any of you get confused with that. So that's his nickname. His nickname is Piyush. All right. So what went into the planning of Areopagus 2021? We know that there were a lot of cogs turning, a lot of wheels turning. So what did we do in order to reach that goal? It might be helpful for people who might want to do their own conferences in the future.
Yeah. So before sharing much about the practical steps which we took, I'd
Yeah.
like to first mention that the foundation of whatever we did was prayer. Without
Yeah.
it, nothing was possible because
Exactly.
we wanted this conference to be held not by us but by God's
Yeah.
divine guidance. And slowly, like we started planning, and as I mentioned, that we three had numerous meetings, and then one after the other things started getting sorted. So basically, we looked at everything like a question. That this question or this issue came up. Okay, so how do we answer it? How do we face it? So
Right.
for each and every stuff, we had our meetings, and together, prayerfully, we decided, and that's how you guys saw the Areopagus 2021, and were a part of it.
Yeah. Jacob, you have anything to add to that? I feel
Uh,
like
w-
he wrapped it up
well,
pretty well.
I mean, there were so many steps in, like Piyush said, if you were to sit down and talk about it, there's so much that goes into it. But
Mm.
looking back, I
Right.
think the key moment where we were like, yes, this is doable. This is something that we can take a step forward was, I think it was on September 15th when me and Piyush we sat for a team call with three other
Right.
pastors, and that was one of our advisory board member, Pastor Binu Thambi of Equipus Kolkata, then Pastor Biju Thambi of Gateway Church Mumbai, and
Right.
another Pastor Jacob of AG Kolkata. So we sat with this team call, and these were pastors who knew us and we knew them. So we said, "Hey, this is an idea that we have in mind. This is very new to us. What do you think? We're trying to bring in these speakers, and we're trying to bring in these worship bands." And their response was overwhelmingly positive. They said, "You guys go
Right.
ahead. We will give you the backup." And these are
Very true.
people that me and Piyush we looked up to a lot. These are people who are accomplishing a lot. Pastor Biju Thambi, Binu Thambi, they run these massive, highly impactful, life-changing NGOs in India, Vision Rescue and Cross Culture. So these are people who have a lot of experience and who like think properly. They calculate before they take a step forward, and they trusted us. And that
Yeah.
was a huge morale booster for us, because that meant like, oh,
Right.
there are people who are going to
Right.
invest in us, and that has been something
Yeah.
that has stuck
Support
with
us.
SAFT throughout. We have people come in and stand by us and invest us. So that was a very key defining moment. Not I would say not only for the conference, but also for the entire structure of SAFT.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And we're not going to understate the support that these churches and ministries have given, because that is absolutely amazing. Even the support that came from Reasonable Faith, from the different chapter directors, that was absolutely amazing. We had a lot of support from all of these different people. And that was one of the main reasons for why William Lane Craig was so enthusiastic to come on as well. So let's get into how we were able to even connect with the resource person. So that wouldn't only include the speakers, but also the worship teams in the first place.
Yeah, we just spoke about the pastors who were partnering with us, who are part of the team call in September. So the fact that you people were able to see the worship bands, it was just because of them, because it was their suggestion, and they took up the responsibility of connecting us with the worship bands, and that's how you could see Sheldon Bangera, Aloba Naga, and Amit Kamble, the three of them, on the first 3 days of the conference. And on the final day, SMS, we had him. So Jacob knows him since a long time, and Jacob approached him, and that's how we had all our 4 worship bands at the Areopagus 2021.
Right. And yeah, just the amount of support that Alobo Naga himself gave us, given the amount of following that he had, I didn't think that he would notice us. He would just be like, oh, it's just one gig that I'm going to do. But he was so supportive throughout the way. Any post that we did on that about the particular day that he was going to be hosting, he would just share it immediately and do all of that. And he was just, and also he was just so good. Like, he paid attention to what the topic in the day was about, and he's mentioned it specifically in the video and stuff. That was just, he didn't have to do it, but he did it anyway. And it doesn't just have to be about Aloba Naga. All of them have been extremely warm and extremely encouraging about our conferences. So that's just been amazing for us. So getting into that, so how did we exactly raise funds for the Areopagus 2021 as it needed to happen, right? We needed to raise funds in order to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, so one thing that was unclear to us, especially, was about the honorarium that we would have to provide to the worship bands and speakers. So none of the speakers required any honorarium. So that was a huge boost. And then we checked with the worship leaders, and they understood our situation, and they fully cooperated with the small ministry that we are. I mean, that's what it was very distinctive about it. Like, we are very, very, very small. We're not even a handful of team members to pull this off. We're not even a handful. That's the fact.
Yeah, like I've said this in churches before, we're a microscopic team, just very minuscule team. This is barely anyone. Yeah.
So we shared with them. We told them, hey, this is what we're planning to do, and that was the support that they gave, and them diving in and saying, hey, you know what? You don't worry about it. We'll come in there as support. You just support us in whatever way you can. That was distinctive in getting it happen. And our patrons who are supporting us on the Patreon platform, they've been supporting us consistently on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And that has enabled us to build up the resources and the finance at the right time. So we were able to meet all of these honorarium requirements as we wanted to meet. So a big shout out goes to all our patrons on the Patreon platform for their consistent support. And also it means a lot. It's not just, it's not on the amount that they're given, but it shows that they are willing to invest their hard-earned resources into the work that we're doing. So that's again a huge morale booster.
Exactly. Just to know that, there are people who support us and want us to, become bigger, That's just really nice to know. So if any of you guys who are listening in want to really help us out, or are really encouraged by the content that we have to offer, if you want to help us with one more step, you can just go into our Patreon and just pledge a monthly amount. It's you don't have to pledge too much, but that would help us out a lot. We're growing, and we're planning on doing a lot of things. So for that, we do need fiduciary support. So it would mean a lot to us if you could help us out with that. And you know what, the baseline behind all of this stuff, right? We kept on talking about what the foundation of the Areopagus project was, right? It was prayer. So that cannot be stated without mentioning the prayer team that we had. So, guys, just tell us, what was the prayer team about? What were they doing, and what was it all about? Just lay it on us.
Yeah, so if I'm not wrong, there were around 7 to 8 members in our prayer team, and they were consistently going over the prayer points and praying for the conference. And we had fixed out one day, one timing for each day. That was 5-7 p.m., referring to First Peter 5:7, that cast all your burdens upon Him because He cares for you, and whatever obstacles and barriers were coming towards the conference, we casted it all upon Jesus, and we could see that He answered it pretty well. And so the prayer team was very consistent and very supportive. And even when we were closer to the conference, like the last 3-4 weeks, all of them selected one day to fast and pray for the conference. So that's how we moved forward with the conference. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you guys remember, as a team ourselves, we would also gather every day. We would go over the prayer points,
Yeah.
picking out a day in the week to fast and sit before prayer. So, I mean, if not anything else, what all that prayer time has done is that it has helped me to really keep the focus on God alone, because it was easy to get it shifted and think that we was doing something massive. And like pride leads to follow me. We all know that. We see that around us a lot. So it was really sobering to be reminded time and again about how God has to step into scene, that all we do with the logistics, all of that, it's sort of all like these Lego pieces in there, but if there is no friction to hold them all together, it's basically pointless. It'll all fall off instantly. Can't stand the wind. So that has really helped me shift the focus throughout all the planning, throughout all the discussions, and getting in touch with these big names. I mean, it's pretty huge, but the prayer time has enabled me more to shift focus onto God and say, well, God, whatever you want to accomplish, here we are. Use us to do what you want to do. You have been guiding us. I mean, from the start all the way till the very end, it has been completely in hand of God, especially the Airmeet platform. I mean,
Exactly.
That was unbelievable. I don't know if I can call it, if I can address him by name, whether he wants to keep his identity private or not. But there was a friend of mine. I was on a Zoom call with him. He was one of the Recent Faith chapter directors, and at the end of the call, he says, "Oh, in case you guys are planning to do a conference, anytime in the future, let me know. I have a conference. I have a conference platform that I can get you guys access into." And I was like, whoa, the timing is there. I think it was around about 5 or 6 days right before we were starting the publicity. So we had set out all the publicity, all of that to go in the Steven said, in the Zoom YouTube platform.
And for me, it was like just thinking about how it was going to work. Like the setup just felt so janky to me, right? Because what you're doing is you're making everyone come on Zoom, and then somehow you'll have to work with whatever screen recording you can from Zoom, or whatever the direct to YouTube thingy from Zoom, and you'll have to hassle around with screen sharing, and then you'll be hosting it to YouTube, where you can't directly interact with your audience. It just didn't feel personal. And when it came to Q&A, we were like wondering, oh my gosh, where do we do that now? So Pigeonhole or Mentimeter, there are so many different online platforms, but we have to move the audience to actually use that platform, and that would be so distracting for them. They won't be able to listen in. And that's when this friend of his stepped in, and that was just an absolute miracle, and that is just a work of prayer, I would think. So
absolutely.
continue.
The timing also was like, we had ample time to test out the platform, check out everything, and shift the media publicity works and make all the amendments to it. And in fact, there was a big scare in the beginning. You guys will recall we had around like 150 registrations. We were like, oh man, so cool, 150 registrations. And then this friend reminds me up and says, hey, it looks like you set it up the conference in your own free plan and not on my paid version. It was at 1 a.m. at night. I was about to go to sleep and I panicked. I came in. But thankfully, the Airmeet support team was splendid, unbelievable. I'm very proud to say that Airmeet is an Indian product. The support team was super.
Jai Hind, come on.
And
before moving ahead, just a quick shout out to Johan Kurian. He was the player coordinator for the conference, and he was handling everything, and it was very smooth. So a big shout out to him.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
Yes, he was a huge help.
So we were like 150 registrations in, and then we had to shift the entire conference setting, everything to the paid version that we had access to, and then it was a nightmare of emailing everyone and reminding everyone re-register. But thankfully, everyone re-registered, and at the end we had 779 registrations. So that was again hand of God. Unbelievable stuff.
We were looking to 500, but this guy Steven, he was so optimistic. He said we will go further than 500. We'll reach 1,000, but we were so close.
Unfortunately, we didn't reach there. But I was just maximum pushing it. I think I burned some bridges along the way because of how much I was pushing it. But we just needed, because the thing is that we know for a fact that there are people who want to know how to defend their faith. And this would be like an amazing opportunity. And the only barrier to that is the fact that they don't know that something like this is happening. So the only way if we do it was if we could push it as much as we could. So so that was just, but the conference platform, that was just something that just was such a clear evidence of God's hand on us and the direct result of prayer. And that was just insane to see. And, we were a little bit concerned about how we were able to, how we had already planned all of this out, like from the beginning till that point, we had it in our mind that we would do it on Zoom and do it on YouTube and all of this stuff. But then, the transition was so smooth because the thing is that all of our problems just got solved with this platform. This is insane to me. But that was just a miracle straight from God. And that was just incredible.
And we can't forget our partnering ministries, or the apologetic ministry that were partnering with us. So we had Deflate, the Carpenter's Desk, and Truth Matters. They gave us, we were able to, enable them to the opportunity to pitch the amazing work they're doing on each day of the conference. And they've also they've stood by us in prayer as prayer team members, and they have also promoted and given boosted publicity to the conference. And speaking about unexpected publicity, Pastor Alan V. George, that was, oh my goodness me.
Alan V. George from Life Church. That
was so unpredictable. I did not anticipate that he would share it. And not only that, he actually sat down for about a 50 minutes call with me, and I briefed him on what we're doing, and he gave some brilliant insights into how to push it forward, how to extend the reach of the conference. That was again phenomenal on all levels. I mean, praise God for the way he led us through the conference.
Yeah. Hey, and mentioning about partner ministries, we also had one that was unofficially helping us. The Truth Feeds. Lydia Rai from the Truth Feeds. That was just crazy. That came out of left field. She was just helping us. The one thing that I recall just so much is the video that she made for us. Okay, so this is what it was. It was an Instagram story completely detailing on how they can register for the event. And that was like another miracle for us, because we were struggling to tell people, how, they have to register and all of that stuff. And then suddenly, she just makes it. And
we didn't even ask her. It was completely unprompted.
Yeah. And it was just insane.
The artworks, Stephen.
Yes, the artworks. So that was
Right.
some personal, some of my friends that was super enthusiastic about the conference. They really liked the work that they did. So they offered to do this artwork for free. And it came out amazing,
Yeah.
the stuff that they did. And it really helped us a lot to have a few more artworks. So that was really nice. Right.
If you
And
miss them, you can check them out on our social media
Yeah.
pages.
yes,
It's there. Yeah.
yeah. And also, big props to everyone who actually attended. That was just amazing. We had how many
Yeah.
people? What were the number of people who joined on the first day on Frank Tirek?
I think it was just under 300.
Yeah, just under 300. And that's
Yeah.
actually, see, that's a huge amount. When it comes to free online conferences, you are bound to only get about a third of
Yeah.
how many people are registered.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was an absolute blessing to get that many people. And it was really good. The questions was so vibrant. The
Spectacular one.
questions were
So well.
really good questions, and it was we were able to keep that and that again, air meet, everyone was just able to interact with each other. So the cool thing about it was people could put their questions up, and then people can see what other people have asked and upvote them. And so it was just this amazing a democratic way of doing it. So that was just really good. And yeah, it is really good. And because of that, now we're starting to grow and all of that stuff. So we're actually looking to expand our team base. We want to have a few more people because it's getting too much for the three of us to handle, and also a few other teammates that we have. So we would like what is the challenge that we're having with the new team members? What are we looking to do? If anyone could, other than
Yeah.
that.
So if you missed the post on our social media, so here's a chance for you to join us, to join the SAFT Apologetics team. We're looking for a videographer and a graphic designer. So if you think that your expertise in these fields will help us, make sure to contact us. You can contact on my email ID. It will be there in the description. And if you are following us on social media, again, you can DM us, or these are the two ways basically in which you can connect with us. And then we will contact you and we'll tell you how to proceed further. So we are really looking forward to have new members joining
Yeah.
us, and don't miss this opportunity. Yeah, because whatever you will be contributing to this ministry, it's for God and His glory and for His
Exactly.
mission to come true. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and it's a
the conference itself, like Steven said, it was unheard of in Indian apologetics context. The Lord enabled us to do that, and so
Yeah.
we right now have a plan. We can't give too much away of it away. We have a plan to do something like even more unheard of. To our knowledge, no ministry in India has done anything of this scale. It's going to be really massive, and it's going to be something that is going to sort of remain there, like sort of a lasting legacy of the work, and impact as many people as possible. So if we really want to expand our work and to not just be with the podcast, we've started receiving multiple speaking invitations in major apologetics and television platforms. So we really want to expand our work, and you joining as a video editor and a graphic designer will enable us to move that
Exactly.
forward. We are with Steven is looking at the ways to update and make our website even more exciting for you to get in touch with our content. Piyush is also, now we're going to launch our monthly newsletter. So you don't have to wait for another SAFT a core team podcast update video. You can sign up on a newsletter. It will be in the description. And Piyush, our executive director, will update you on a monthly basis of all that's going on with SAFT. So pretty exciting days ahead of us. Pretty exciting years ahead of us, and we're just trusting the Lord to see.
If we follow the SAFT trend in that sense, like just now Jacob hinted something, and maybe by the next core podcast, it will be already with you guys, in front of you guys. Yeah.
So yeah, before that happens, be a part of history and join us. Not to be too dramatic, but Yeah. What we're planning is pretty crazy, and it's really fun to be part of the team. I'm having a lot of fun because the thing is that when you're part of a small team, while it's this thing, you can do a lot of fun things. You can experiment a lot, and it's really nice. It would be really nice to have some of you guys join in with us. And that's about it. So. Thank you all for joining us in this podcast episode. Be sure to rate it 5 stars down in Apple Podcasts if you're using it, and or Spotify. I don't know. Do we have ratings in Spotify?
No, I don't think there's a rating in Spotify, but we are there in Spotify.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever thing is there, just rate it nicely. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. And for latest updates, stay tuned to our social media handles. Like we are on Instagram and Facebook, so you can connect with us over there. Follow us. Follow our page, and please continue to support us in the amazing way which you have always done. And even as we look to the future, we believe that you will continue to support us in prayers. Keep us in your prayers, keep this team in your prayers. And if you want to support us financially, and if you want to help us to make our content creation even better, to improvise it, so you can support us on Patreon, become one of our patrons, and you will even have some special benefits if you become one of our patrons. So
and so you guys want to add anything else before we close?
No, I guess that's it. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. I think that's the new big update.
And also, if you want to learn more about us and what we do, you can just visit our website at saftapologetics.com, where we're rapidly adding some new stuff in it. So, make sure to stay tuned, like how Ankit said. And thank you all for joining. And we hope to see you again for the next SAFT podcast episode.